Mic'd up.
Highlights from Lowlifes.
Almost forgot the most important part.
Highlights
Song?
from Lowlifes.
Welcome again, everyone. Let's just wait for Rob to get his beer. Okay. I think you all set?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good now.
Good. Thanks for joining us again. Show 81.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. We are well into spring training.
That
And
means Yvonne has tolerated 81 shows.
81 shows.
And you wonder why she's still on medication.
She's enjoying our show. She told us so. Anyway, welcome to Highlights from Lowlifes. Tonight's cast of characters, we got Marty Brown,
Good evening.
Terry Tiger Lee, and Robbie Lannerman, and I'm Rob Weber. And tonight we're gonna go back to baseball, and we're gonna talk about. We're gonna go start with the catcher position, and we'll probably have this as an ongoing theme for the next couple of weeks. But
It's a series.
a series. The top 5 favorite catchers that you from Major League Baseball. Sorry, Marty, from Major League Baseball.
You no.
All right, so Marty's going to tell you about single A catchers that he followed in his.
Most of them made it started at single A.
Yeah. So top 5 favorite catchers. This is not the best catchers. In fact, I'll be surprised if we're talking about great catchers, because some of us have been to fantasy camps and met some players who played the catcher position and didn't have great careers, but they're great people. So we may be talking about them. So thanks for joining us. The Lowlifes again, senior baseball players from the San Francisco Bay Area who got together during the pandemic on Zoom calls for our mental health, and we had a great time during those calls. And it evolved into this show on Mic'd Up, the longest running show on Mic'd Up, 81 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm sure they're very proud of us.
No.
All right.
How do we drop this app off? The guys are still going.
Yeah. Well, maybe they've shut off. It's not really airing to anybody,
Right.
But we do have comments tonight, questions and comments. So if you would like to tell us who your favorite catchers are, hit the microphone at the bottom of the screen and leave us a 30-second diatribe of who you like. All right.
How it works is you press the button. It gives you. There's a 30-second timer. You get to listen back on your recording. If you like it, send it. If you don't like it, you can redo it and dump it. So I don't feel like there's any pressure, or you have
no
to
pressure.
you don't have to be a disc jockey in order to do it. Although, my friend David, if you've tuned in, he's one of the biggest, best 50s and 60s DJs in Boston. Sorry.
Oh
wow.
He had a bar.
Boston.
He owned a bar right. What is the street at Fenway Park? There's the 2 streets, right? Right around
Lansdowne Street.
Lansdowne. He had it's called Who's on First. If you're watching, David, welcome.
Oh, we have to go. We have to go to that place.
Yeah, it's not there anymore. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. Who wound him up? Jesus.
Well, I met him after the first baseball strike. He was done with MLB, so he came to Los Angeles. I met him there.
I see. Well, David, please leave us a comment. We're anxious to hear it. All right, Robbie,
I understand John Cusack may be listening again tonight, so shout out
to
him. And, feel free to leave a message as well.
Yeah.
John.
I love you an 8-man out.
I dare you to leave a comment.
All right. Robbie, start us off. Who's your number 5 favorite catcher?
All right. When we first decided on this topic, I was thinking, oh, yeah, this will be fun. This will be easy. I won't have to do any work on it. And as I started to think about it, like, it was really difficult for me because I have a tremendous amount of respect for catchers. I mean, the physical toll it takes, the number of foul balls and pitches in the dirt and foul tips and guys with an out of control swing that come around and smack you in the back of the head with their bat. It, I mean, it requires a tremendous amount of discipline, dedication, hard work, and effort. And it is a position that, and because of that, I mean, tremendous amount of respect. And so many coaches and managers were catchers, right? But now I never wanted to play catcher at any level from, the earliest days in little league all the way up to us playing now. It holds no attraction to me whatsoever as a position I wanted to play. So I started to think about it. I'm going down the list of my favorite players of all time. There's not a catcher in that like top 50. And like, this is going to be a lot harder than I thought. So thank God, the Great American Baseball Card Flipping, Trading, and Bubblegum book has been a book that I've had by my side my entire life, and they talk about a lot of catchers in there, and a lot of these guys are catchers I think of from my childhood just because of that book. So these are the kind of guys I'm going to be highlighting tonight. So my first one is Charlie Silvera.
Oh.
Some players, some players play in the wrong era, some players play on the wrong team, and some players play the wrong position. Um, Charlie Silvera somehow managed all three. he
Oh, wow.
he played 9 years for the Yankees, mostly in the 1950s, during which time they won 7 American League championships and 6 World Series. So he cashed in pretty good. Um, but it really didn't help him get in the lineup because if you're he even though he hit 283 in a lifetime, and the only season he got more than 100 at bats, he hit 315. So the guy could hit, but there was no way he was going to take playing time away from Elston Howard and Yogi Berra. So being the third
Man,
guy behind those two, I mean, he's
wrong.
got as much chance of taking their job as I do of taking over Elon Musk's job at Doge. It's not going to happen. So Charlie Silvera, he's my number 5 guy because in 10 years in the major leagues, he only had 482 career at bats.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
He's Euchre-esque.
yeah, and he's a Bay Area guy. I think he grew up in San Francisco. He lived in Napa for a while, and I think he was down in San Jose and Millbrae or somewhere when he passed away, just right before COVID. As a matter of fact, he had a long life, but yeah, 10 years, 482 at bats.
Wow. Wow.
And what was his first name again?
Charlie Silvera.
Charlie Silvera.
I've heard it.
All right, let's see.
Ooh.
Hey.
A prompt.
Ooh. Showing up with the big guns.
So so we have 5 or 6 or even 7 or even 8 catchers here, and I'm sure you're all gonna pick these guys. So here's a catcher that I knew personally, or I met personally. He was with the Red Sox and the Cards, Major League Baseball from 1980 to 1992. I met him at the 1988 playoffs when Boston came to the Oakland Coliseum. Or I saw on the back of the bus the other day, the Oakland Collie.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he throws right, he bats left if that's comes into play with our left-handed catchers, but not really. His name is Rich Gedman.
Oh.
He was the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. Just a sweetheart of a guy, wholesome, next door neighbor kind of kid. He's a really, really nice guy. My buddy David, he gives him a call and he says, "Hey, we could make it up to. We were in LA at the time. We could make it up to Oakland and watch your game." He goes, "I've got tickets for you. Come on up." So we drove up, went to the game, had a great time. After the game, Rich joined us. We went out to dinner. We took him back to his hotel. We had a fantastic time. He's a super nice guy with great stories. His bull session was awesome. I was
Cool.
not really. I had not gone to camp yet. That was way before I went to camp, so I didn't, and I personally didn't know him. He goes, "So are you a Red Sox fan?" I go, "Not really. I grew up in this area. I was an A's fan as a kid." He goes, "I get it." but
Hmm.
but I appreciate you taking us to the game. It was really fun, and then we stayed overnight, drove home, drove back to LA the next day. Richie Gedman, great guy.
Excellent. Excellent.
Terry's talking
Cool
more
story.
in episode 81 than he did in episodes 1 through 80.
Well, this is kind of personal. I really enjoyed meeting him. Hey Marty, how about you?
Like I said, I'm going to be all over the boat on this one. I'll save the best ones for later. But my number 5, I have 5 favorite catchers, and it starts with Kim Rupert and Colonel Riolini and Rudy, Brent, Craig Nelson. Craig was trying to help me out when I first started, and he knew I was a losing proposition from the very beginning, but he still tried to give me a few tips. Dave Hall is in there, and of course the fellow left-handed wonder Brett Tetlow. So there's 6 of my 5 for my 5
Okay.
top catchers.
So
So there you go.
Marty, explain to our audience who these people are.
Yeah, John
The-
Cusack has no idea who they are.
They're a collection of people that hold me up at one end and beat me down at the other. So no, they're all catchers in the West Coast Fantasy Baseball League. These are all guys and ladies that have been in the league for years, and they're catchers. So they're the ones that will have to have a 12 pitch inning, and a 25 pitch inning, right the very next inning, and then a 52 pitch inning on inning number 3. And they're still there. Everybody's standing around, admiring the sunshine, and they're working their butts off. And they're all very good friends and a great fraternity of catchers. And so even at best, a senior adult league is what we can call it. At best, there's a fraternity of catchers that I must admit in college and pros it must be phenomenal. But those are my favorite catchers, and that's what we said. The top 5 catchers. So those are my number 5s. So thanks, guys. And Kim. Kim kicks my ass every time. Kim's the best.
And
She's
Kim
a
is the granddaughter of Horace Stoneham, the former Giants owner.
Is she really?
Yes, she
Yeah.
is. Mhm.
Oh, far out. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Good for her.
Yeah. All right. I'll finish up round 5 here.
Teddy Bear, Brent Tetlow.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to get it in while it was quiet, and then you guys started talking. Here it is again.
Go for it.
John Cusack has met Teddy Bear, Brent Tetlow.
Wow.
I'm sure we'll get a backstory.
He'll never admit it, but he did meet him.
Yeah.
So, John, if you're listening, please let us know what Brent Tetlow was like. Hit the microphone at the bottom of the screen. All right, let me finish up round 5 here. We've talked about this guy before. It's kind of been a quiz question when we talk about the Hall of Fame. This guy he was in 11 All-Star games. He won 5 Gold Gloves.
Oh, you took one of mine, damn it.
And participated in a winning World Series team. He dominated his position in the American League for basically a decade. And I always liked watching him on TV because he did not have the prototypical body of a catcher. He was taller and thinner than most catchers are,
Mm-hmm.
and was very agile at his position. There is nobody who has made 11 All-Star teams and not be in the Hall of Fame except for this guy, Bill Freehan, the old Tigers catcher from 64 to 73. He was an All-Star every year. Missed one year in 74 and then won again in 75. just the backbone of that team for years. And I would imagine at some point we'll see him get into the Hall of Fame through one of the veterans committees, because he personified that position in the American League for a long time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No question.
Sadly, he passed away about 3 years ago from Alzheimer's disease. But,
Oh no, I didn't know that.
yeah.
You know,
Oh,
he
wow.
he played in 130 games or more in 10 seasons of the 15 years he played, and that's what 152 and 155 game seasons back then.
Yeah.
So I think being the backup catcher for the Tigers was the easiest job in baseball.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my number 5.
Good.
So let's just shoot right into a round 4. All right, Tara, what do you got?
So my number 4 just happens to be a 6'6" height catcher. He played for the Padres. He played for the Giants. He played for the Astros, the Mets, the Padres. He coached the Padres. He coached the Giants. You know who I'm talking about. There's only one melon head that's 6'6". And try to be a catcher, a 6'6" catcher, jumping up and down, trying to get out of the way of the bat. That's Bruce Bochy.
Yeah, good
And
pick.
trying to find a mask that would fit him. What is he? A size 8.5 head size or something?
Bigger. He's
Yeah.
a planet head. Anyway, Bruce Bochy. Robbie?
All right, I'm going to go for another guy. This is longtime favorite catcher, just solely, you could say, because of his name. Choo Choo Coleman.
Oh,
He was the quintessential early New York Met kind of player. He was 5'8", 160 pounds, never hit over 250. He had 9 career home runs, 30 career RBIs, and he could not play catcher very well. And I mean, again, his name was Choo Choo. Casey Stengel used to say that his biggest strength was his speed, and that no one had ever gotten so many or retrieved so many pass balls as quickly as Choo Choo did.
Which
And
means
and
a lot of
lastly, and
balls
Rob
he
can
passed.
back this up because Choo Choo Coleman is kind of an ongoing joke with a little baseball group that we have. Every picture I've ever seen of Choo Choo Coleman, he has this strange mix of bewilderment and shock and disgust on his face. I mean, it's almost like he's going, "Are you sure you want to drink that?" Every picture he just looks at. So
I
yeah.
always thought it was, are you sure? Are you sure you want me to go out there and play catcher?
Yeah. All right. That's my number 4. Choo Choo Coleman.
Excellent. Excellent.
What do you got, Webby?
I'm going to go with a former Giant catcher. This guy played, I think he's most well known for being the Cardinals catcher, and then came over to the Giants 2005, 2006. He didn't have a great career, but he was a man's man. I remember seeing Mike Matheny at the plate, and he took a fastball off his face.
Ooh.
He didn't drop to his knees. He stayed in position as blood came gushing out of his face. Broken nose, fractured cheekbone. He just looked out at the pitcher and started running down to first base. Blood was everywhere, all over his jersey. People were chasing him. No, you're coming out of the game. And he got down to first base, and he looked at him indignant, like, why would I come out of the game? I'm just bleeding a little bit. And it's all over him. And the trainers are putting towels on him, trying to make sure that the blood stops. And he's like, I don't want to come out of the game. And they said, no, we got to check you for a concussion. Well, interestingly enough, this guy had so many concussions that his career ended prematurely. They said that the symptoms were not going away. There's no telling how many concussions he had during his career, but they felt that it was too dangerous for him to be out there. He went on to become a manager with several teams, and and was a good manager, a good leader. So, yeah, he's one of the guys I always liked watching play, even though his statistics weren't that great.
Right.
So Mike Matheny is my number 4.
Good pick.
All right, Marty.
You hear about these catchers that have a lot of these ailments, like getting hit in the face and taking balls off of their body. They should use their glove more.
Oh, look at this guy!
They'd be
Look at
great.
this guy!
They'd
Jeff-
be great catch. Well,
Okay.
sorry, Marty.
I just want 2 minutes for a rebuttal. My number 4 pick was he was just a solid catcher. That when I was a fan of the A's in the '80s, he was just the stalwart, steady backstop of the team that had a lot of great players around him. Terry Steinbach. And he was always one of my favorites simply because you didn't see the bat flip, you didn't see the palm. He did his job. He did it every day amongst some great people around him. I remember my first fantasy camp, and I got to meet Dave Henderson. And we sat up one night, all night, just listening to him stories and all the crazy things that they did. But you know who wasn't there? And those crazy, it was Steinbach. He was with the A's from '86 to '99, 3 National League pennants, World Series, 3-time All-Star, and he just did the job. He was just rock solid. And then if you knew being an A's fan, as Steiny was up, he was going to put the ball in play. He may not, he didn't have the huge home runs. He didn't have the stats. I had a stat sheet. Now I can't find it for him, but oh well. And the A's fans appreciate it because last year he's in the A's Hall of Fame. He was named to the Hall of Fame. And without a lot of fanfare or without a lot of tabloid papers about his off-field exploits, I thought he was just a great, solid catcher for a long time. So he's on my list, Terry Steinbach.
Good one. Like that one.
Thank you.
All right, we are through 2 rounds. What time is it now?
Well, time for my favorite part of the show. It's a segment we like to call What You Drinking. As always, 81 episodes worth. We've been sponsored by our good friends at Almanac Brewing, Alameda, California, one of America's premier craft brewers. They are purveyors of great beers, a great spectrum of beers. They started in the barrel-aged sour business and then expanded out in a number of different things. So the beers are fabulous. We each take turns talking about what we're drinking, and it should be no surprise to anybody that I'm still drinking the Porch Light Lager. This beer is really full flavored and super refreshing and easy to crush. So I'm still digging it as long as they make it. They're getting ready to switch out. So if there's Porch Light in the store near you, you better buy it now. It's going to be gone soon. And like a moth to a light, I'm drawn to this beer. What are you guys drinking?
I thought we were going to get through without the tagline.
Oh, never.
For once. Wait. When you want a beer, you want a good beer, you go back to the basics. And for me, that's always the true Kolsch. It's light, it's refreshing, but it's full of flavor. And and even though there's times where you think of it springtime, so you want a nice spring beer, but then the storm is coming through, like it's coming through right now. It still has the guts to stand up and be a nice anytime beer. So that's my go-to is the Kolsch.
Marty, are you getting some snow?
They're saying 2 feet up at the pass, and it's a 50-50 on getting on anything on the floor here in Reno. But
What do you drink in a snowstorm?
Beer. Maybe a little whiskey, but beer.
Well, let me tell you, I'm on my last Almanac Hefeweizen, and this is one refreshing drink. Smiles for miles. Hugs.
Hugs.
Almanac
Hugs, Heffy.
Hugs. Webby or anybody else?
I am drinking
What you drink in a snowstorm?
the Bunny Hill IPA.
Yeah.
This is what you drink in a snowstorm. Yes.
Segway.
Marty, you tie one of these around your neck as you're going down the hill, and that's what you get to have when you crash and burn.
You
Go
look
So
for
like
it.
a
yes,
Saint Bernard.
Go for it,
yes,
Cujo.
yes.
You calling me a
So
dog?
Cujo,
this
love
is
a dog.
I love
this
dogs.
is your starter IPA for those of you who are that abhor IPAs. Try this. See if it changes your mind. Very smooth, not too heavy. You can have more than one. I'm loving it. So Bunny Hill IPA. Robbie?
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you to Almanac. If you were in the area of Alameda, make a trip out, or even if you're not, make a special trip out to Almanac. Stop by the brewery. The beers are outstanding. They've got everything from we all seem to be drinking some of the lighter stuff tonight, but there's stouts and porters and double IPAs and triple IPAs and Belgian style IPAs and West Coast IPAs and hazies. They've got everything. Everything they make is fantastic, and that's not just hyperbole. Look up the awards they've gotten online, and you'll be quite impressed with their selection. So stop by the brewery, tell them you heard about them from the highlights from Lowlife show, and they may take pity upon you.
He said hyperbole again.
Yeah.
All right, let us move into the third round. And let's see. Marty finished up there. Marty, choose who's going next. Wait. Hey, wait. We do have a what you drinking.
Oh, yeah,
from,
we do.
Oh,
don't we?
great.
Yeah.
Hey, what you drinking? I'm having the Future is Fluid. A very nice, not too hoppy IPA. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's kind of
Thanks,
East Coast
JC.
style IPA. A little more
The
malt.
future is fluid. Nice.
Mhm.
Thank you, Almanac.
Yeah. All right, Marty, who's up?
Tiger.
Okay. So here's a classic catcher that's been around for I'll stick with it. He's a really good catcher. He's also in the Hall of Fame. He's a Yankee catcher. How about this? He's the only baseball player with a cartoon character named after him. But he's mostly famous for his yogiisms. This is Yogi Berra. There's hundreds of them, and they're all really very funny. Here's one of them. Texas has a lot of electrical votes. Or the future ain't what it used to be. Yogi, he played. You all know who Yogi Berra is. He's a catcher, Yankees. Robbie.
All right, I'm going to go for another fun one. This would be Gus Triondos. Gus Triondos went to the All-Star game several times. He was a really good hitter. He was a tough catcher, pretty reliable defender. He was also considered by many to be the slowest player in the history of Major League Baseball. Extremely slow. In fact, he's so slow that in his one attempted stolen base, the catcher Gerald Johnson was laughing so hard that Triondos was trying to steal that he couldn't get off a good throw. Kind of like he threw a rainbow to second base. So Gus Triondos in over 1,200 games in his career is exactly 1-for-1 in stolen bases because of that. But the reason why Gus Triondos is really on my list is because you guys ever watch The Wire? That great crime drama set in Baltimore. And that Triondos had his best years in Baltimore. That's when he was making the All-Star team regularly and everything else. But in season 3, the two boiled detectives, I guess, if you want to call them that, Herc and Carver, start this whole thing about talking about how Gus Triondos, and since the show's set in Baltimore, it makes sense. Gus Triondos, was the hardest working catcher in baseball because he had to catch Hoyt Wilhelm, who was a knuckleballer at the time, and we all know about how difficult it is for catching knuckleballers. And Herc and Carver talking about Triondos saying, yeah, that guy almost killed him and the whole thing. And then the conversation takes a weird turn when Herc tells Carver, if I ever had to have intercourse with another man, I'd want it to be Gus Triondos. So that's why Gus Triondos is my number 3.
Oh.
Follow that, Marty.
The show just took a
we're gonna let that one
terrible
lie for a
turn.
while. Wait a minute. We're gonna no. Is there a reset button on this thing? Reset.
I didn't say it. Herc said it.
Hell. Oh, all right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna steal probably another one off everything other people's list. This was a great catcher, Hall of Fame. Again, just did his job, but didn't take himself too seriously. After his career, you've seen him on a few of the sitcoms. Married with Children once or something like that. But everybody knows, and the reason I bring him on is not only because he's a great catcher, but I'm going to be there next week in Cincinnati, and of course that's Johnny Bench. We all knew Johnny Bench when we were growing up because he was the premier catcher back in the 70s and early 80s, part of the Big Red Machine. 17-year career. And when he retired, he held the home run record for catchers. It's since been broken, but he still holds the record for grand slams by a catcher. Just for fun, what would you think the number that record is? Grand slams for a catcher.
17.
Not quite as many. 10.
Oh. Yeah.
But in a 17-year, 10 gold gloves on the All-Star team, 14 times. 2 most valuable player awards. But I'm bringing over my comments from Steinbach that you didn't quite hear about him off the field, but this was something that kind of stood out with, and I have to blame it on Wikipedia for bringing it up. He's married 5 times, so I guess he did. So I guess he did have something to do during during those off season, during the off season and those games off and away games. Thank you very much. Yeah. So
that's a different kind of passed ball.
I read a little bit about that, Marty. He admitted that he wasn't the best of husbands early in life. He does have kids, and at one point he was raising 2 boys by himself.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
There's a documentary on MLB that they play from time to time, and he was on my list as well. And I really have a lot of respect for him because he didn't make any apologies at all for Pete Rose's behavior. He said what Pete Rose did was wrong, and they were friends for a long, long time. But Johnny never said, "Hey, what you did was okay." He never made any excuses. He just said, "You don't bet on baseball." And Pete, you dug your own grave here. This is where you put yourself in the eyes of Major League Baseball. So I respected that. He always seems so well spoken and so approachable. Maybe it was an act. I don't know, but I think he's a good guy. That's my take on it. Yeah.
I remember. I think Don Gullett was talking about him one time, the great Reds pitcher, that Johnny Bench never had to frame the pitch, pull it into the strike zone. He would keep as much of his glove in the strike zone as he could and catch the ball.
Yeah.
So he was never moving his glove. So the edge of the strike zone's right here. He's still got the very bottom of his glove in the strike zone, and he's catching a ball out here. But he would get the strike because there was no visible hand movement. He wasn't trying to fool the umpire in that sense. He was trying to lull him to sleep, basically. Really revolutionary.
Most would say Johnny Bench is the GOAT of the before 2000.
Yeah.
Oh, easy.
You know, greatest of all time before the year 2000.
I have an asterisk to that, and we'll bring it up in later on, but that's okay.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Stay tuned for this cliffhanger moment. Brought to you by Almanac
right.
Brewing.
Wow, what's your language?
All right. So I am finishing up this round, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here, Webby, why don't you go next?
Hey, thanks. Really appreciate it. So I got to admit, I did not like this guy at the beginning of his career. I thought he was kind of a showboat, and he just rubbed me the wrong way. But as I got to know him a little bit better, he was a good guy and a good teammate, and he just wanted to win and play the best he could. And he understood that what he was doing was entertainment, and that the fans were coming to see not just teams, but they were coming to see personalities.
Is this AJ Brzezinski?
No, it is not. So this guy actually got, for us Giants fans, he got in a season with the Giants at the end of his career, but he's most known for being in a Montreal Expo and a New York Met. Gary Carter, the kid.
Yep.
He died at the age of 57, which was tragic. But I didn't realize his own mother died when he was 12 years old. And he, persevered, came up with basically the expansion Expos in 1974, instantly became, one of the pillars of that team and came over to the Mets. And I'll never forget watching interviews of the Mets and their World Series run in '86. And Gary Carter was a big part of that team, but he was completely removed from what was going on in that team. There was heavy drug use on that team, and lots of alcoholism. And Gary Carter didn't seem to be aware of any of it. He was just out there rooting for his teammates, and they all kind of thought of him as a doofus, like, oh God, you don't know what's really happening here. But they knew him as a good teammate. And I thought he was a little bit naive, but at the same time, he was untouched. He was innocent. He was there to play the game, and had a responsibility to the game. So yeah, he's my number 3 pick, Gary Carter.
I like that. Good. That was good.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think we finished round 3. Let's go right into round 2. Tara, what do you got?
I've got an old timey player. He played in the Negro Leagues. He played in the Mexican Leagues. He was a Brooklyn Dodger. He came into the MLB during the segregation, right after segregation. This is Roy Campanella.
Oh, good one.
This is I put this one in for Jonesy because he's really big on Negro League players, and we're proud of the integration of Major League Baseball. He played until he got in a car crash and broke his back, but he was he broke the racial lines. Him and tell me, Robinson. Sorry.
Oh, I thought I didn't know we were supposed to answer.
Yeah. Jackie Robinson, that is. And anyway, Roy Campanella, Hall of Famer in when did he go into the Hall of Fame?
Gee, but he was.
Uh,
Did he?
well, his career was cut short because of his car accident. I'll keep. Oh man, he was like a 9-time All-Star.
This
Yeah.
awkward pause
yeah.
is brought to you by every other brewery besides Almanac.
Okay, Marty, go ahead.
All right. He was brought up before, but he's going to be brought up again. Because he's for a lot different reasons. And it's Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra was a gunman's mate on a boat that charged into Normandy in World War II.
Yep.
2 years later, he broke into the major leagues with the Yankees. 18-time All-Star, 13-time world champion, 3 American League MVP awards.
You can observe a lot by watching.
Retired number 8 of the Yankees. Major League's all-century team.
If you can't imitate him, don't copy him.
And then he decides to have a personality on top of it being a ball player. There was a documentary, still out there. I can't remember the name of it. Gosh darn it.
It ain't over on Netflix.
It ain't over. If you haven't seen it, see it. If you've seen it, see it again. The man, of course, became a manager, coach, even stood up to Steinbrenner when nobody stood up to Steinbrenner. He tried to bring him back to All-Star games, and I said until Steinbrenner apologizes, I won't. And Steinbrenner backs down. Like I said, he started as a World War II veteran, became a major league ball player, became a major league icon, became America's icon, and is one of the greatest individuals I've ever heard of. Is Yogi Berra. And again, on the top, well, like I say, Johnny Bench, he doesn't take himself too seriously. Look at all the ads he's done and the commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great human being. Great human being.
Great
so
call.
he deserved to be in our list. Excuse me, at least twice.
Yep.
So Yogi Berra.
Good job.
Thank you.
And if I'd make the argument, if this was the greatest catchers of all time, he would be number 1.
Oh, yeah. Right.
All right, who's up?
Okay, Robbie. Thank you. I'm sorry. My
right.
My bad.
All right, so we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to ask you guys, close your eyes, because when I say this player's name, tell me what you see in your mind, because I guarantee you're going to be right. Smokey Burgess.
Oh yeah.
Whatever you're picturing Smokey Burgess looks like, you are spot on correct. Big,
Yeah.
big roly-poly, fun-loving guy. I mean, he has that. I want to have a drink with that guy at the bar. That'd be fun, kind of guy. I mean, Smokey Burgess was that guy, and he was a really good hitting catcher and actually a pretty decent fielder. In fact, in the 1960 World Series, he led the Pirates with a .333 batting average. Started and played all 7 games of the World Series when the Pirates upset the Yankees. 9 All-Star games. He held the record for most career pinch hits with 145. That was later broken by Manny Mota. So the whole thing is why is this guy not better known? And well, he was slow. like Gus Triondos, he was really slow. But unlike Gus Triondos, he had 13 stolen bases in his career, though he was caught 14 times.
So my big question is, was he as attractive as Gus Triondos was?
Yeah, he had that boyhood East Coast Hungarian charm.
Oh, okay, good.
But he was so slow. There's one of my favorite lines in baseball, and I've forgotten about this until I read it again. One day he showed up at the ballpark. I guess he slept funny and injured his neck, couldn't swivel his head. So he had a really stiff neck. And Don Hoke, the old third baseman for the Pirates, said, Yeah, he probably got that. He probably got whiplash at the snail races last night. That's how slow he was. And I found this out today. His he holds a record for the most games played by a non-pitcher in a single season, 79, without scoring a run.
Oh, wow.
79 games without scoring.
That is hard to do.
No
Wow.
kidding. But bottom line, the man, his name was Smokey Burgess. He's what you imagine. I have several of his baseball cards. He's my number 2 guy.
Yeah. Good one. Good one.
Thank you. Is that it? Anybody else? Did you go, Rob?
No, I see. Yeah, I need to do. Yeah, we're in round 2. Yeah, I haven't gone yet. So
Okay.
I have one I like. As those of you who watch our show know, we've all been to these Major League Baseball fantasy camps. So that's why we know a lot of these players. And there's a guy I met at my first camp that I thought was really, really a nice guy. Tom Haller, the Giants catcher. I walked into the lobby to register at my first fantasy camp, and he walked up to me and he asked what my name was, and he shook my hand, and I go, "Oh, well, it's really nice." But it's probably his job. It's probably what he has to do. I didn't think anything of it, and had a fun week at fantasy camp. The next year, I walk into the lobby, and he walks up to me and he says, "Hey, Rob, I really miss you. And I'm really glad you're back for another year here at fantasy camp." And I go, "Oh my God, he remembers my name." And I'm thinking, did somebody tell him my name? You know what he said? He said, "And no, nobody told me your name. I remember you. I remember you as being a really nice guy." And well, this is a guy who's spent a lot of his career with the Giants and finished up with the Dodgers and the Tigers. And then he went into management and general management with the Giants. So he was running the team in the mid 80s, making the deals that the Giants, they never quite got over the hump until 89, but he was wheeling and dealing for the team. Super nice man, died way too early. I think he got some kind of virus, and it took him in his late 60s. So Tom Haller, he's my number 2 pick. Right?
Great guy.
Everybody go that round?
I think so.
All right, gang. I'm going to talk about one of the shows on the Mic'd Up Network. There is a relatively new show called the English Soccer Special. It had been running on Saturdays. Now it will be switching to Mondays. And this is UK-based media guy, Chris Hull. And he has a weekly show that includes Dave Johnson. Dave is the Washington Wizards announcer, but was covered soccer for many years. And Bruce Murray, who's an Olympic soccer player who is now doing a lot of coaching. The three of them get on a show, and they cover the last week in EPL games. What is EPL? The English Premier League. Yes, and it is better than the MLS, the American counterpart. So those of you who want to know where the EPL stands, the EPL is one of the most popular sports in the world, and the fans are rabid. There are a lot of people in the United States following the EPL, and Chris, Dave, and Bruce are great at covering what happened in the past week, who's going to be going up in the rankings, who's going to be going down in the rankings. So look for their show on Monday mornings. It'll be early here on the West Coast, probably about 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. But get your questions in beforehand, and they will answer every single one of the questions. So look for it. The English Soccer Special. Right?
Neat.
Cool.
Hey, we have a timely comment from Teddy Bear.
All right.
Hey guys, Teddy Bear here. I have a question for the Lowlifes tonight. Didn't Johnny Bench have some huge hands too? Like he could hold 5 or 7 baseballs in the same hand? I don't know. Maybe you guys can confirm that. I thought I saw a picture once of him holding all these baseballs. But
yes.
Anyway, you know what they say about guys with big hands and big feet?
Big gloves.
Big boots and big gloves.
Big boots, big gloves.
It was a great show tonight, guys. Thanks.
So, yes, I believe it's 7 baseballs that he could hold in one hand. I'm not positive, but I think maybe I advertised this week's show up on LinkedIn by using a picture of him holding those baseballs. So take a look. If it's not correct, just search in Google for pictures of Johnny Bench holding 7 baseballs, and you'll find it. I don't know how he does it. It's jammed between fingers and just a mess. But yeah. It's true. It's true. All right, we go to round 1. Let's see. Terry, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. This one's an easy one. This player has won 3 National League champions, 3 World Series champions, 1 Baseball Classic championship, All MLB team, American Baseball Coaches Association, All-American team. Well, the list goes about 20 categories down. He's got at least 1 in each of these categories. Brooks Wallace Award, Collegiate Baseball Newspaper All-America Team, Dick Hauser Trophy. This is Buster Posey. When we were talking about Johnny Bench, I mentioned probably the GOAT from 2000 and earlier. I think we have the GOAT from 2010, and in the modern day. I don't know anybody who's ever accomplished this many accolades and did so well, even after taking a break from getting run over at home plate. Plus, now they've got a new Buster Posey rule that you can't block the plate, and if you do, I guess it's on you now, huh? Buster Posey.
Yep.
Good one. Good
My
one.
number 1 pick. Marty, how about you?
I have to excuse me again. The top favorite catchers. I'm a little techno challenge, but see if this works.
What do you want me to do? Got a catcher? Yes. I'm a good catcher too, you know. I know that. I would like to play for the St. Louis team. Well, I might arrange that. I would like to catch. Now, I'm being a good catcher. Tamara's pitching on the team and I'm catching. Yes. Tamara throws the ball and the guy up bunts the ball. Yes. Now, when he bunts the ball, me being a good catcher, I want to throw the guy out at first base, so I pick up the ball and throw it to who? Now, that's the first thing you've said right. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Well,
Lou Costello, my favorite catcher.
There goes the copyright on this show.
I'm sure that's expired.
I didn't think about that.
I'm sure that's expired by now.
Oh yeah.
Lanterman.
All right. Much like Marty, I'm going to let my catcher introduce himself.
That's all. We got 1 goddamn hit.
You can't say goddamn on the air.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
I mean, come on, Bob Uecker.
Very good, very good.
Thank
I'm
you.
impressed. All right. I guess it's up to me, huh?
It is.
All right. I'm actually I'm going to give you guys a name, and you're going to go, huh? But you should each and every one of you should be bowing down to this guy because he did something that has greatly affected all of your lives. My number 1 pick is Randy Hundley.
Oh yeah.
The father of modern fantasy camps.
Oh.
Randy Hundley created the first fantasy camp ever for Cub fans. At the conclusion of his career, it's the longest running fantasy camp of any in the country. It's a little bit different than what we want, because I think they have pitching machines or the pitchers in their games, but it's all about bringing in great personalities from the past to rub shoulders with the campers and give them a major league experience. Randy created this idea, and look where we are many years later. I think the first fantasy camp was in the mid 80s, and I think Randy has passed away, but the idea, all of the major league teams have something going on in the fantasy camp arena. I grew up a Cubs fan. Randy was the catcher on the 69 Cubs that should have beaten the Mets, but did not. It was a great team. He was a good, solid player. And like Robbie said before, he would play 145 to 150 games every year. Didn't matter who the Cubs backup catcher was. Randy Hundley was going to be out there. So he's my number one pick, the father of fantasy camp. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Thank you, Henley.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
Robbie.
Let's go to the calls.
We got some calls, and then we could do a few honorable mentions. Yeah.
Perfect.
So in no order whatsoever, but I do have several catchers that are my favorites, starting with Buster Posey for, of course, the San Francisco Giants when he was catching. Benito Santiago, another San Francisco catcher that I enjoyed watching. And Brett Auerbach, who is a minor league Giants catcher and a friend. And Yogi Berra. I loved him.
Good picks, Bonnie.
Yeah,
Good
nice
picks.
job.
Good picks.
Yep, yeah.
Auerbach is a local guy, right?
Yeah, well, he's with the River Cats now, Sacramento AAA.
Is he back with River Cats?
Yeah.
Good.
All right. M. Miller checks in.
Ooh.
Here's a surprise from Michael Miller, Yankees Coast to Coast. Thurman Munson, my all-time favorite catcher. Then, of course, you've got Johnny Bench, who never really blocked balls the right way, always caught the ball with his glove one-handed, and was still one of the best defensive catchers ever. Then you have Benito Santiago, the first guy to throw from his knees. And then Yogi Berra, because he's Yogi Berra. That would be another one that I would pick. And I'm just going to go with 4 today. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
We should have mentioned Thurman Munson.
Yeah.
That's a great pick, Mike. Munson was fun to watch, and he didn't take crap from anybody. He was a team leader. So wish he could have played longer, of course. So
yeah.
All right. Part-time lowlife, full-time miscreant. JC Penny checks in.
JC with my favorite catchers. Number 5, Terry Kennedy. Number 4, Bob Brenly. Number 3, Tom Haller, a.k.a. Hatchet Face. Number 2 coming up. JC, number 2 favorite catcher, Hobie Landreth. First player drafted by the Mets in the expansion draft. Casey Stengel was asked why. He said, if you don't have a catcher, you get a lot of pass balls. Hobie was a consummate gentleman. A real pleasure to talk to and to be around. I miss him a lot.
Hobie and Choo Choo Coleman. That's a great battery back there for the 62 Mets.
JC with my number 1 catcher. Couldn't be anybody else. The Sheik, Mike Sadek. 8 years in the big leagues. Fantasy camp kangaroo court judge. At the cocktail party before camp, he said, will the following please stand up? Richard Hertz, Richard Burns, Michael Hunt. Then pointed and said, Dick Hertz, Dick Locke, Mike Hunt. quick-witted, sarcastic, and just plain funny.
Those were actual people at the fantasy camp. No
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps the calls.
Censors can't yellow flag us on those.
Yeah.
No.
That wraps up the calls.
Mm-hmm. You guys got any good honorable mentions?
Yeah, I said I'm going to challenge Tiger's statement on the GOAT before 2000, and he should have been brought up. Josh Gibson, his name. They can't go back and get all the stats from all the Negro League games, but he said he had 400. I misspoke. 800 home runs for his career.
Wow.
And the poor man passed away from a stroke at age 38.
Wow.
Imagine what could have happened after his career and be a stalwart for the Negro Leagues. But so that's my challenge to your statement, Josh Gibson. So
very good,
yeah.
Marty. You mentioned the A's catcher. It reminded me of Gene Tennis.
Yeah. Back in the early 70s. Yeah.
Just a player that I remember.
Yeah, and he was kind of in that same mode as Steinbach. Just the guy that got things done. He wasn't the Bandos, he wasn't the Reggie Jacksons or Joe Rudy's, but he was there and he could hit, and he just seemed to be there every day. This is a stalwart catcher. What more can you ask for? Yeah.
Okay. I got one.
Go ahead.
Charlie Lau.
Oh, yeah.
Charlie wasn't much of a major league catcher. He wasn't a bad catcher. And he had an okay career. But we all know Charlie Lau as the kind of the precursor to what hitting coaches have become today. He was a master of teaching hitting, and many teams used him as a coach, but also they consulted with him and said, right. Hey, what do we need to do as a team to get better? What's our approach? So Charlie Lau is somebody that had a huge impact on the game. So
I had Chico, California's own Clayton Dalrymple.
Oh yes, Clay.
Because of the name. No other reason.
Yeah.
And in 1970, in the baseball card packs, he was one of those guys. Like I could buy 6 packs, and I would get 6 Clayton Dalrymples.
Yes.
So, and then the other one, this guy is the antithesis of what a catcher looks like. I think when they cast baseball movies now with adults, not like The Sandlot, but adult baseball movies, the catcher is based off of this guy, Carlton Fisk.
Oh yeah,
I think he's just what a catcher should look like in people's minds. So yeah, he was a tough guy. I liked him.
Good one.
Yeah.
All right. Any others?
Yeah. Stephen Voigt.
Stephen Voigt.
Yeah, was a catcher for the eighth.
Vote.
Excuse me. Okay, vote.
And
All
Giants.
Right. All right, and the Giants paid his dues. I remember seeing a few years ago. I was in Seattle at a Mariners game, and if you're drunk and an alcoholic, you got in earlier and watched the bullpen work up. And he was the bullpen coach for the Mariners, and he was setting everything up for the game. And he paid his dues, and now he's. This is going to be his second year with the Guardians, and looking forward to see him when we get there. So here's a guy who wasn't a big star, but did it the hard way, and look where he's paid his dues, and look where he is today. I think so. Worth an honorable mention.
Yep.
Cool. All right, folks. Let's wrap up tonight. We will be here in some form next week. I personally will not be here, but we will have a show next week on the 19th. Topic to be determined. Please join us. It's always fun when we have these audience participation going on, so that's great. We'll see you next week at 6 p.m. on Wednesday evening Pacific Coast time. Highlights from Lowlifes. All right, Robbie, play us out.
Hey, thanks again to Almanac.
Thanks, Almanac.
Almanac Brewing, Alameda, California.